What's going on out there, YouTube? This is SEL0320 representing JVS. I got the legendary reviewers, reactors in Farewell 34 and JOR-ELS Alexandria. What's going on, you guys?
What's going on, peeps?
So what's going on, y'all? Dodging these technical difficulties. Y'all don't even know. Dodging them.
Yeah. So we're about to talk The Walking Dead episode 3 of the 8th season. I can't believe it's been 8 seasons this show has been on. That's so crazy. But this might be, I guess, one of the better episodes this season so far. But we're gonna dissect it and give you guys our thought process on it, and about to go in. So I guess to start off, you guys, monsters. What did you guys think about going into it? Because some people really didn't like the last episode at all. And I got my own gripes about it myself. But going into this episode, what were your expectations or thinking about it?
Joel, you want to go on this?
Sure. So some of you may know, most of you probably won't know, but I really didn't. I didn't like the last episode 2, The Damned. I thought episode 2 was deeply flawed. I thought I just thought episode 2 was a bad episode, which is interesting because episode 3, Monsters, it was like day and night. I thought episode 3 was fantastic. I do think that, because Greg Nicotero, he directed episode 3, and this man really has tapped into something, because I just thought episode 3 was awesome. Just thought it was awesome, personally.
Yeah, you know what? I'm actually on the opposite end this time around. I kind of I liked season 2 a bit. I like the action and the way they're kind of just like going full force with everything. Episode 3, I while I did like it, I wasn't the biggest fan of it. Yeah, the whole stuff with Morgan and Jesus, I just wasn't really messing with. I thought that was just kind of like a little jarring, and I'm like, dude, these saviors are out here. There's zombies going about. And you guys are having like your moral and ethical debacle right now, and I'm like, this is not the right time, guys. But that being said, there were some things that I did like, with Rick slowly, building up his, I want to say, moral compass with the amount of crazy things happening, because this is all probably going to lead up to his, I believe the saying goes, my mercy is greater than my wrath, or something along the lines of that.
Yeah, he said something like that in the first episode.
Yeah, so I believe we're seeing all these events, like, Daryl killing, spoilers, right? We're good? We good?
Yeah, we going spoilers, son.
Oh boy, let's get it.
Full spoilers, son. Okay, if you haven't seen the episode, tough shit, the spoilers.
This is a spoiler review and discussion.
Exactly. So with Morales getting off by Daryl, and that one person at the end, we're just seeing Rick. They gave us shots of Rick getting, slowly triggered. So I think that's going to lead to him saving Negan at the end. So I thought some of those elements were really good, but yeah, that's just my thoughts on the episode. I liked it, but it wasn't my favorite.
Michael's about to be like Jesus, and I'm about to be like Morgan. It's gonna be interesting conversation right here.
Yeah, it actually is, because I actually like that you guys are both on the opposite on this one. I felt there were some things that I thought were great about this episode, but I ended up giving this episode like an 8.5, and I'll dissect my reasons why. The stronger parts of the episode, believe it or not, for me was Morgan. Like, Lenny James is a great actor, man. And I feel like ever since, the boy died, there was a part of him that was just slowly disintegrating. And he was focusing all his anger and disintegration that we knew from him before, from Clear Morgan. And eventually it got to a head with this whole debacle with Jesus or Paul's indiscrepancy about how to deal with these guys. And, I understand where Jesus is kind of coming from, but at the same time, it didn't make any sense from what Morgan needed to continue to go. It's like, this doesn't fit with the code, what I'm trying to do. And I love the fight, but I thought the more emotional turmoil that I could tell from Lenny James throughout the whole entire time, there was a moment where he was like, he stopped fighting. He was like, what? And I was like, he didn't even realize what he was doing. I was like, that in and of itself was just, that kind of set the bar for me. But like you said, Michael, with the Rick thing, this is going to be very interesting. What do you guys think were symbolic of, I guess, the title of this episode, Monsters? Because I have my own thought about it, but what did you think? What defines this episode as being classified as called Monsters?
Oh yeah, that's actually a pretty brilliant question because I touched upon this just a tiny bit in my review, but I think they titled the episode "Monsters" because it's really a question to the audience, like who is wrong and who's bad. You know, kind of like Marvel Civil War. You know, who's right, Cap or Iron Man. Very similar ideologies going on here. You know, who is correct here? Is it Morgan? Is it Jesus? Is it Rick? Or hell, is it Daryl? You know, because one thing I mentioned in my review is I could definitely see a clashing between Daryl and Rick in terms of morality, who's right on that path, morality wise. I think that's why they titled this episode "Monsters." You know, like Morales, was his line of thinking correct or skewed? You know, I think that's some of the reasons why they titled this episode that way. And just for the record, like I said in my review, I would have been totally in line with Morgan. I understand where Jesus is coming from. It's not that like what Jesus is saying is not sensible. It's not that. Actually, I would even go as far as to say that Jesus made a lot of sound points, but where Jesus is coming from isn't sensible because he doesn't have anything to really back it up. You know what I'm saying? Like I mentioned in my review, there's no prison system last I checked, right? So this concept, like when he was talking to Maggie about like, oh, well, so let's just round them up and lock them in some RVs and just have some people watching them around the clock. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
What are you talking about, bro?
It's a lot of effort for some people who are trying to kill you.
Yeah, like, hey, don't you gotta, in this sense, feed these people, right?
Exactly.
You gotta get these people beverages, right? Who's gonna be feeding these people? Who's gonna be making sure these people are hydrated, right?
Yeah.
Come on, fam.
I mean, but that's interesting symmetry though, because if you think back to, Morgan and the wolves, when he had that one wolf that he decided to try to protect and keep him in what he calls prison, that was just one. They don't have the means to be able to rehabilitate and maintain that many people, because even that one wolf put all those lives in jeopardy. You know what I'm saying? Just one. And so it's like for Morgan, it's like, look, I've seen how this goes, and I still tried to maintain that code. Rick looked at me like I was crazy. Rick ended up, submitting onto Negan. Now Rick is having me do this. It's like in his head, it's like you can't keep having me shift back and forth. And I think for me, the whole process of Monsters, I look at, Aaron, I look at Rick, and I look at Morgan, and I look at Daryl. Daryl has lost all sense of morality because he's seen the darkest of the edge. And at this point, he knew he was a byproduct of a lot of the violence that happened because, he decided to do this and didn't take the chances that he needed to the right way. And then you got like somebody like Aaron, that he's just broken. Like he's broken because, he lost the love of his life. And, and it's sad to see, like he had that baby Gracie at the end, but it's like he's represents the broken side of this war. And then I think when I think about Morgan, it's just like he knows what war is about. And it's like he decided to go into this war already broken, and it's like that's not going to work either. I feel like Rick is taken from all these different pieces. And like you said, like it all goes back to Rick coming from what we know of him to be, having become a monster, to something that's more, I guess, less than a monster, or something that's not Negan. Because I think that at the end of this whole war, is Rick going to become Negan or is he not? And I think that that's what the reality of this whole entire war is really all be about, symbolically, because they're going to have other groups they're going to have to combat. There's going to be other threats beyond Negan. But it's like Rick said, it's like we can't maintain doing it like this. But that whole Morales conversation, what did y'all think about that? I thought it was actually really interesting.
Yeah, that was a pretty interesting conversation. We got a lot of, understanding of what Morales has been through, what's happened to him since we last seen him. One of the lines that I actually found really well done was, Rick was trying to pull his strings a little bit, mentioning things that, they both had on common ground, the people they're with, Lori, Shane, Glenn, why Glenn died, because of this guy he's working with. And then, Morales gave his kind of rebuttal as to why he's okay with that. And it's just, you see a man who's just as broken as Rick, but he doesn't have that sort of that drive or the community that I guess that Rick has, right? That conviction. So he decided with Negan because, like he said, he lost himself. And the one line he said, "Because I was with you for five days," whatever it was, that really hit me. Because it's like, to the audience, oh, Morales, season 1, to us that feels like such a long time. But if you really take a second to think about it, he was only with this dude for a couple of days. He's more or less an acquaintance who you guys had a quick bond with, right?
Yeah.
So I thought that was a really effective line, and it kind of just hit the point that, Rick, your shit isn't gonna work. You trying to sway me isn't gonna work. You're killing all these people who I'm friends with. I'm this with. You trying to talk to me because I met you a couple days. I'm sorry, buddy. You just hooked my buddy right there too. I mean,
yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think about it?
Okay, first off, not to trigger nobody, but for me, I didn't, as you guys probably know, I notoriously did not give a fuck about the return of Morales because I didn't see where the excitement was. I didn't see the purpose of what, like, the return of Morales is greater than Morgan. What this is fool got Dragon Balls. I just didn't really understand. I guess I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something. I didn't understand the excitement for Morales. Not one goddamn bit. With some guy from the 5th episode of season 1, 2010. Okay, yeah. I'm sorry that I didn't jump out of my seat with excitement. And first off, this fool gets killed. I said this in my review, right? I was saying, I was like, okay, minus the commercials, this fool, he got killed in like the first 10 minutes.
He couldn't make it to commercial 3.
Fucking killed. I mean, like, Daryl walked in and just shot this fool. Which I'm assuming he shot him in the neck. I don't know if you guys feel differently. I'm assuming he got him in the neck.
It was really quick. I couldn't even. I didn't have time to process it. I was like, wait,
what?
what?
That's why I assumed, because it's just such a clean shot. I will say that the guy playing Morales, he definitely, outside of gaining maybe the easiest paycheck of his whole life, the actor. I thought that the actor was Morales. He did a fantastic job, and it was really fascinating to sort of see a face from the past just so unsympathetic to Rick's needs. I thought that was very fascinating. That even though they shared this bond in the past, it was temporary,
Yeah.
That I just thought that was really interesting. I do think that Morales was wrong when he was saying, "Well, Rick, if you had the gun," I'm in line with Rick. I don't think that Rick would just necessarily just cap this dude in the forehead. I think Rick would have tried to save this guy. I think personally, but it was interesting. It was a very interesting conversation. But I don't know. I just never understood the excitement from Morales because I never saw him having this substantial pull on the overall narrative, which, I mean, I didn't realize somebody should be killed in like a few minutes, but
it's like, if you're gonna bring him back, I mean, at least tie him up, have a couple more nuggets of good dialogue, and then X him off, But
I was like, damn, they dealt with this man just like 5-10 minutes. Jesus Christ! But it was interesting. I will admit, it was definitely an interesting conversation, seeing where Morales was coming from, I suppose.
Yeah.
Sam, what do you think about that whole situation?
I mean, it was funny because me and Jarrell had a conversation about the whole, like, everybody being like, wow, episode 2 was so good. I can't believe that actually happened. And I was kind of just like, I know that's Morales, but that's not like, the governor came back from the dead kind of like to get me like all enthralled, But but it's going to be interesting to see what kind of a man he is, you know. The biggest part about that whole conversation that was intriguing to me is the fact that in two different moments, like, there was an understanding of everybody's point of view. Even Daryl, you know, after he killed Morales, like, Rick was like, you know who that was? He's like, yeah, I know. I was just like, dang, that's how this is what this has brought everybody to, you know what I'm saying, from an emotional standpoint. And when Rick was, you know, I guess Morales asked him, you know, if we were on the same side, like you do this, I think that, yes, to JOR-ELS' point, I don't think he would just kill him right off the bat, but I think he would really think about it and process it and time it. No matter what, eventually he would either have to knock him out or kill him. And just because how many people were going to be coming. Like, it wasn't going to be like, all right, well, I'm going to keep you alive and tie you up. Like, he didn't have time to do that.
No,
he would either have to knock him out or he had to kill him. And the other part of that is Morales lost everybody. You know what I'm saying? And Rick didn't. Like, he lost a lot of people, but he didn't lose Judith.
Yep.
He didn't lose his son. He didn't lose Michonne. But what if he did? Would he not be, you know, just as self-destructive or to the level that Morales is at on an emotional level? There's no way of knowing that. And I think that that's the thing that Rick is having this self-discovery. After he killed that guy that was trying to protect his daughter, and he looked at himself in reflection, I was like, okay, this is about Rick getting to this point where he needs to get to before the end of this war.
Yeah.
And it's weird because if they go the route of the comics, I'm not going to spoil it. It's going to be really interesting how he handles the Negan situation. If they go the comics route, it's going to either piss some people off or it's going to be one of the most interesting, you know, narratives, how they platform this, because you know what I'm talking about, Michael, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I know, JOR-EL, you don't, but the whole
I want to see JOR-EL's thoughts on that whenever that may or may not come.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Because the whole thing about, like, even Jesus' thought process of, you know, keep them alive, they surrender kind of thing. I don't know. It's all very interesting symmetry. All the pieces are fitting together. And that's part of the reason why I really like this episode. I like that section of that. Do you guys enjoy, I guess, Aaron's performance at the death of Eric? What did y'all think about his performance?
Oh my God. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. I had to step away for a second. But no, I thought the guy who plays Aaron, I know his first name is Ross. I'm not sure about his last name. I know it starts with an M at least. But
I was gonna say Ross Moss, but I'm like, that doesn't sound right.
But no, I really didn't understand where people were coming from with episode 2, where like Aaron's story arc was so compelling. Part with Eric was so no, it wasn't. It was I thought it was very clunky. Whereas in episode 3, I really felt the turmoil that Aaron was going through. I thought his performance was actually pretty brilliant. The whole moments with Aaron and Eric by the tree. I thought that was just haunting stuff, actually. It was almost difficult to watch in a sense because I totally understood where Aaron was coming from. It would be pretty horrific to kind of have someone that you love just be shot like that, and then you have to leave them, you know? I almost can't really psychologically relate to something like that. I have no idea what that would be like, you know, to leave a loved one to go back into a firefight would be insane. And then to return, and then like not only is Eric gone, but there's a realization that it's not that he's just gone, but he's turned. Yeah. I thought the dude who played Aaron, I thought his performance was actually pretty brilliant, to be honest with you. For sure.
Yeah, and that was interesting that, you know, he said to Rick, like, look, me and Eric, we're going to go back and regroup with Maggie and the Hilltop and let them know I'm still going to do what I'm supposed to do. Let me take the baby. And I was like, how can you emotionally even connect with this child and even muster enough strength to get back and then decide to come back? I couldn't do it. And I feel like even with Morgan, I feel like a lot of people are thinking Morgan's just going to get killed off. But I honestly feel like Morgan, I don't know if he can continue either. Like, I feel like there are people that are in this war that they're not just getting killed off, but kill off emotionally. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you lose somebody like that, you know, there's a part of you that just dies off. Like, it's like you thinking mid-Firefly, do I really care about living anymore? You know? Like, and I think that that's going to be the eventuality of how this is going to progress. And I hope that the narrative keeps platforming that. I hope we don't get these random filler episodes or stupid things back and forth. And the other thing, the only downside I had was the way that Maggie handled Gregory. I would have. No, I ain't gonna say what I would do.
No, fam. I 100% disagree with Maggie. What the hell was she talking about? This whole concept of like letting the saviors in, letting Gregory in was total bullshit. Like with no punishment. Just none. No,
and then the fact that she let him speak up and she was even like trying to like pull a gun on him after.
I was like, bruh, are you serious? Like.
Well, the question is, like we were talking about the monsters situation, is Gregory the monster, right? He pulled some real grotesque things, right? And he tried switching around, and I guess the point was that Maggie isn't a monster for what decision she made.
I mean, well, I can't say she isn't because we don't know what she's gonna do about these captive saviors yet. I don't see her putting them in a cage or anything like that. I just don't see that working. The fact that even she said that for now I'll handle, but it just still, I was just like, don't let this man back in. I said actually on my reaction, I haven't uploaded it yet. I said, okay, I'll let you in if you go and take Gabriel's car. Go get Gabriel, bring him back, then I'll decide to maybe let you in. If you don't have that, then no.
You need the receipts, bro.
Yeah, like you gotta give us some fruit because your fruit that you've been giving us is bad, it's rotten. Nah, bro, his tail would have got lit up.
Yeah, it's probably a good thing I'm not in the Walking Dead universe because I'd be a fucked up person. Like if I was Maggie, if I was Maggie, I'd be like, yeah, you can let them in as long as they're all injured. Motherfucker, what you talking about? Better shoot everybody. Better get shot in the leg or in the arm. What you mean? There's gonna be consequences. What you talking about?
P-Pad City, everyone line up. What do you mean? What's this shit?
What you talking about?
Be like, if you ever seen the movie Misery, are you willing to go down that route? If you are, you can come back. You're gonna be a giver.
What was the old girl's name? Kathy Bates, I think.
Yeah.
Nah. There's gonna be consequences if you're gonna get it. Yeah, we'll let you in, but like Gregory. You really gotta like what I'm saying in my review is like, why not just fucking just deck this bitch right in the middle of his nose?
Try to kill her? Did he try to kill her with a knife or something like that?
I don't think she saw that.
Shoot.
You know what? No. I honestly want Maggie to give him a good 1-2, but
right.
Will we see that? I don't know.
It's uncharted territory right now.
For real. I was gonna say. So the whole point of them, by the way, storming this base, the past 2 episodes was for guns, right?
Yes.
Well,
why are they wasting ammo?
There's 3 different missions going on. Like there's some people that are taking the outposts, then there's some people that are providing backup, and then Rick and them, what their focal point was to try to get the guns to bring them back to meet at the other sections. Because I thought initially, kind of like you, like why are you all wasting all your guns, but there are other people like where Ezekiel and them, they were doing their own thing, and Aaron and them were doing their own thing, and then the other people had their own mission. But it's just hard to tell because there's so much going on. Narrative wise, I don't know if they conveyed that as well in the last 2 episodes. This one, it was a little bit more like, okay, I understand where you're going with this. And I think it'll all level out eventually. But dude, tell me why. Daryl is cold-blooded, bro. That boy, he shot at them. He was like, "What are you gonna let me go?" He's like, "All right, I'll give you the car." Daryl just shot that man right there. Cold-blooded. Like that was Mal from some show. I forget what it was. Boy Meets World. I think that was what it was.
Bro, I don't know what Daryl was thinking. Like Rick gave him his word. He went on a whole monologue, preaching a man's word word is all he has in the apocalypse. And this man just shut him. And like, I have a feeling we're gonna get a scene before the midseason where, Rick's gonna pull Daryl aside and just be like, "Listen, buddy, I know you mean well, but because I don't think he can keep doing that.
I mean, but it's hard for Rick to sit there and pull somebody over and do that because he's been there. He's done that. Like Daryl's had to been that one to be like, "Yo, stop," and I don't know, like it's not gonna end well. It's not gonna end well at all.
He's gonna have to come to that realization though post-war. Like I think during the war, I think you're in the war. You got to do what you do to survive, right? So I think that. Yeah. I guess Daryl's in the clear for that. But as we're watching Rick's understanding and realizations, I don't think that kind of stuff's gonna fly going forward, right?
Yeah, and my worry is this, and a lot of people are gonna be triggered by this, but the more you do bad in this show, yes, you survive a little longer, but to the point when you start turning heel, like your lifespan diminishes. Like I'm saying this to say, after you've gone full heel, like I don't care about you anymore. You kind of seem this unredeemable. You might die. Like I mean, there's gonna be consequences, repercussions for what you do. Karma is real in the Walking Dead area. So I don't know.
And if you get more dialogue too, I mean that those two equals death on the Walking Dead.
Yeah. But at the same time, Eugene ain't took a L yet, so who knows? I mean, Eugene ain't killed nobody, to be fair, but
who? Eugene?
Yeah.
Mullet?
Well, it kind of killed Sasha.
No, he's taking a few L's in my opinion. Eugene, is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, Eugene only
the cowardice, some bitch.
No, I mean like if
mother licking ass.
this motherfucker, like Eugene got some nerve, man, for real.
He do.
Let me tell you something. That time when what's the old backwards talking ass Yoda bitch? What's her name? The trash people, right?
Oh,
when they betrayed. when they betrayed the main characters, right?
Yeah.
And Negan rolls up with Sasha in the coffin, right? And Eugene, I would have shot Eugene right there. Let's kill him right there.
Where was Daryl with the bullets then? Where's Daryl?
I mean, I guess you could argue Eugene ain't killed nobody, but that cowardice shit like missed me with that.
I mean, yeah, it's more unredeemable than Gregory because Eugene is consciously choosing to betray him. Gregory just been a coward from Jump Street, but
yeah.
But anyway. Does anybody got anything else? I feel like we pretty much dissected the whole episode.
The ending. All right. So, what's his name? Ezekiel is out here spitting, proverbs and verses. None of us died. None of us will die. What do you think's gonna happen? Like, I'm sorry. Who are you to say none of us are gonna get one casualty in a war, my guy? I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, I'm gonna comment on that real quick because we know from his conversations with Carol, everything he says pretty much is bull. But he knows that by being that rally, that war call, it allows everybody else to feel like more confident. They feel like they're gonna make it, and he's an advocate of that. And that's part of the reason why he calls himself Ezekiel. That's part of the reason why he calls himself the king. So that people feel like more safe and more guarded. But he didn't believe that himself. Like he was kind of just like, I can't believe, nobody did that. I don't think he believed, that was ever going to happen. I think he just kept saying it, and that's kind of how his character is. But I knew, I was like, somebody's going to die. I just didn't know how.
How and when, right? They kind of set that up pretty interesting. The thing is, do you think this will be the downfall of Ezekiel? Do you think he will start, once he sees the casualties, let's say hypothetically a Jerry dies, someone really close to him, or he sees, his men and women falling at his pretty much his lies, right?
I think that what would break Ezekiel is if Carol died, because he generally cares about Carol, and Carol is choosing to consciously believe in him. If
Yeah.
she died, like from that situation alone, it's like the next episode we are literally watching Carol like bleed to death.
Yeah.
He'd be broken. He'd be broken, and I don't know what he would do. I don't know how he would carry himself. It'd be interesting though. That's just my thought. Jarrell, you got anything on Ezekiel moving forward?
Well, first off, I mean, there really wasn't anything nonsensical about any of Ezekiel's actions. Personally, I mean, everything that he was saying needs to be said. To be fair,
Yeah.
to rile these people up and get them to the right psychological state. First off, how great was the ending of this episode? Probably one of the best cliffhangers I've seen in a minute from The Walking Dead. I just thought it was brilliant. The kind of the shattering of hope, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Just seeing their people just getting just lit with bullets, and then just cuts the ending credits. Could you imagine if they didn't cut immediately to the trailer to the next episode? Like, Jesus Christ. I thought it was a really brilliant cliffhanger. Pretty brutal, too. But, no, I didn't see anything wrong with Ezekiel's actions. I mean, that's how it should be. You should be trying to talk to people like that. Because, honestly, they've been under the boot heels of Negan for so long. They really sort of need that kind of pep talk, I think. But now I'm really curious, Michael, with your perspective of the episode, because it kind of sounds like you think that the second episode was more superior to the third episode, which I think is amazing, because I feel like the third episode is like monumentally better than the second episode for like a variety of different reasons. Is there like a one singular thing that you think separates episode 3 from 2?
You know, I found episode 2. I liked it better than the premiere. I wasn't a very big fan of that one. Between 2 and 3, I just found the all out war aspect that I was looking for in the premiere and the story arc. It finally came to fruition, and I think they kind of executed that with the the fight sequences, and they didn't really let the beat drop once. That being said, episode 3, I don't know, it was just I liked a lot of the performances. I just think some of the pacing for me and just some of those moments between scene to scene, it just didn't work the best for me. The stuff with like Daryl and Rick just shooting in the hallway, just like some of those slower paced moments, they just didn't click for me. But the more we're talking about, more fleshing it out, I am starting to see little things that I necessarily didn't see initially. But to me, I think episode 2, I personally liked it a little bit more. Although I can see why some people like 3 a little bit more.
That's interesting, because even like I know you mentioned that you didn't like some of the morality confliction between like Jesus and Morgan. I thought that in episode 3, I thought it was completely brilliant, because it was very much so like Cap versus Iron Man in Civil War. Both sides have extremely strong points, I thought, in episode 3. Personally, I think Morgan was right, but I thought it was necessary to have a clash of ideologies like that, because like that sort of, I mean, that would happen in this situation, honestly. It would happen with more people than Jesus and Morgan, but I think that really would happen in this situation. Should we keep them as prisoners? Should they just be executed?
I do too. I just think I think like the cheesy elements of the fact they got into like a literal fist fight amidst all these things happening, to me, was just kind of like not necessary completely. They could have just went back and forth, and then Morgan maybe stormed off, or he kind of just did what he did at the end, or I don't know, one of them he pulled his gun on him or something, his rifle, and they kind of just Terada come in the mix, and the other people that came out afterwards, and they kind of all went back and forth in an argument. I think that might have worked a little bit better for me.
I mean,
then like a whole like kind of like fighting montage, like.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I thought Jesus versus Morgan was fucking dope, because for one, it really brings up the curious question of who's the better fighter.
I was thinking that too.
Which is a clever question, because I feel like the real answer is that they must be equal to each other, because they're both fantastic fighters and their own techniques. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I thought that was just fascinating, seeing them just clash off against each other. Personally,
Yeah.
I didn't necessarily think it was too much per se. Maybe if it had gotten bloody or something like that, or maybe then I would have been okay, it's taking it too far. But
Yeah.
I thought it was fascinating. I was like, oh
Mhm.
shit, it's lit.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's literally what I posted up as my reaction, is my reaction to their fight, because like kind of like what Jarrell said, like who is the better fighter? Like, I mean, when we first see Paul or Jesus, like he just deals with Rick and Daryl like they're nothing. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like, and so, but the thing for me about the fight in and of itself, it was building up to it. I felt like the moment that Morgan came back and he saw that guy that killed the kid, and, you
Yeah,
know,
that,
he's
I like those moments. That was in the armor stuff.
yeah, and he sit there and told him, you know, like, no, this is not who we are. And then the guy, you know, in this episode decides to come back at him and saying all these different things. And Morgan still did not shoot him. You know, he left it alone. But then all of a sudden, like, then it was the outbreak. And it's like, in Morgan's head, it's like, see, this is what I was telling you. Like, what if they would have gotten away and gotten back to Negan? And worse, you know, anybody could have gotten killed or hurt in this situation because of your decision. And I don't agree with your decision, kind of thing. And it's like, then at that point, you know, he was like, all right, I'm going to stop them from moving. And he kills one. And then as soon as he was about to kill the other one, like he pushes the gun out of his face. Like if you sit there and I'm in the middle of a firefight, you know, and I'm like a fight or flight situation, you pull a gun out of my face, like I'm going to push you back, you know, like, no, but I know Morgan's mental capacity though. Like Morgan almost killed Rick during the Clear situation. So it's like I knew it kind of made me feel like the episode that Jarrell really loves, the one where he got trained by the guy.
Oh yeah. What's his name again?
I forgot that dude.
You're talking about the cheese guy who trained Morgan?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Like it felt like that all over again. Like Morgan was fighting with himself of where he needs to go, what path he was going to take. And that's the thing about the fight for me. It wasn't just so much the choreographed fight or the randomness of it. It was like these are the clashes of like where we moving forward. You know, like Morgan, like he didn't back down off of what he thought. Like he just like I can't do this. You know, like if this is what you're gonna do.
I 100% like the getting to the point where Jesus and Morgan fought each other. I thought was completely sensible. Personally, I feel like they could have started throwing blows as soon as old dude Savior with the long hair was talking shit about Morgan's armor. Like they Jesus him could have thrown blows right then. You know, it made sense that they went to a literal butting of heads. I thought. Because I mean, it's like, come on, like Morgan's on a short fuse. He's kind of coming in and out of clear mode. You know what I mean? Like, I thought it was, I thought it made sense.
So where do you think Morgan's headed now? That's someone asked that in the comment section as well.
Yeah, shout out to Amanda Kane. Shout out to you.
It's kind of blunt, but I feel like Morgan, at least at the current time, Morgan is psychologically fucked. I mean, he has no children. He has no wife. Morgan doesn't, you could almost argue Morgan doesn't really have any real best friends to confide in about his emotional turmoil.
Yeah.
He died. That was probably the closest thing he had, right?
I mean,
Maybe
he had his
brother
thing with Carol though for a long time. Like him, he went back for Carol, and they on eye to eye, and like now
she got a new brother though.
Yeah, exactly.
By the way, no offense to the kid who died in the Kingdom, but do any of you guys remember this guy's character name? I'm sorry, but I forgot it.
I think it started with an E. I think.
I thought it started with a B. Like the dude's name was Billy or some shit. Well, I can't. I honestly can't. I can't remember his name. I'm sorry.
The only Billy I remember is from Stranger Things.
I don't know. I spaced out on the old dude's name who got killed. I'm sorry. Whatever his name was. I can't remember. I can't remember.
Bro, don't worry.
But I not to like beat a dead horse, but Michael, I'm really curious as to like what made you love episode 2, because for me, I genuinely don't understand the positivity for episode 2.
I didn't
I'm just
love it. I liked it. I liked
Oh,
it
you
more.
just liked it?
Yeah,
It was Benjamin.
Benjamin. Oh, it was a B.
Okay, Benjamin, gotcha. But no, I'm genuinely, I'm not even being facetious. I'm just genuinely curious about why
You're trying to fuck with me, Darrell. I see.
I'm just curious because to me, like, I thought episode 2 was so flawed. I thought it was like bad. So I'm just curious, like, what were the main points of episode 2?
This is hilarious because both of you guys, I watched both of you guys' reviews individually, and I was like,
yeah,
come the next episode, eventually we're gonna have this conversation. I was like,
yeah.
Bro, 1 second. I'm trying to pull up this script right now. 1 second. Because I actually did a review.
Oh, did you?
I did. Yeah, I was on the Hybrid Deck. I did a review for it.
Okay, I'm just genuinely curious because, like, I just feel so lost when people are praising episode 2. I'm just like, wait, what? Like, where are we praising them?
Yeah, it was just like I can't find my script, but it was just more or less just them fighting. The Morales twist, I was just kind of like, oh, that's cool. I called it before it happened. I'm like, oh, that's cool that they did it. I didn't love it per se. It did feel more like of a fan service sort of deal. Yeah, just more or less like kind of the action and the butting of heads and the whole Gregory switch up and all that jazz.
Interesting.
So I guess for you, it was like more action oriented and like structurally, it was going 1, 2, 3, 4 kind of thing. You think that was more it?
Yeah, I like the pacing switch up.
Yeah. No, I can see that.
Man, I don't know. I just felt like Greg Nicotero, he just did such a great job at episode 3, particularly emotionally. There were many moments that surprised me. Rick coming back with the baby. I didn't see that coming because I was unsure if Rick really would have left the baby or not. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I don't know. I mean, the right thing to do would be to bring the baby with you. But if Rick had left the baby behind, I mean, it's tough. You know, it's tough. You know, if you were in their shoes, you know, what would you do? You know what I mean? Because it is a war situation that you're in. You know,
he just leaves the baby. Says, "I don't got time for this."
I don't know. I just saw episode 3 was brilliant, particularly what Nicotero did with Aaron. I thought was really just. I just thought that was pretty powerful stuff what he did there.
Yeah. And then speaking of the baby, man, the baby survived the whole firefight. Like they were like throwing bullets everywhere. Like
so I'm saying, G, I was like, when I saw at the end of episode 2, my reaction was like, yo, it's like, is Rick really trying to take this kid right now? Like, you know, hold one hand, your revolver the next, and not get it shot? Like,
yeah. So I mean, the fact that the kid survived all that, I mean, I guess you know, I don't know, but I really did enjoy episode 3. I enjoyed it a lot better than the second episode too. But I do see, I mean, because I am a fan of the comics too, like I enjoy just the prospect of how this war is going to be platformed and where it's really going. But yeah, I could definitely tell Nicotero's hand all over this episode. I think some people are going to be, it's going to be a divisive episode because some people are going to be like on Jarrell's side with it. Some people are going to be on Michael's side about it. But let us know in the comment section below what you guys thought about it. What did y'all rate this episode? We'll close
out.
bro, it's your episode. You got it, bro.
Yeah. I can't go 10 out of 10 because I feel like saying episode 3 is a masterpiece is a little bit much. I don't know that there's enough there to warrant a masterpiece rating of a 10 out of 10, but I would definitely give episode 3 a 10 out, or I give episode 3 a 9 out of 10. I just thought it was just so many notches above episode 2. I thought episode 3 was more coherent. I thought the action was better choreographed. I thought emotionally it just resonated deeper. And people's decision makings were much more coherent in episode 3. I just thought it was just way better than the last episode, and I'm really curious. It was so good that I was like, damn, they didn't have Negan in this episode, and I really didn't mind that Negan wasn't there.
Yeah,
I was like, damn, you know, everything in episode 3 felt needed, actually. and you can feel the whole narrative moving. Whereas I felt in episode 2, the whole narrative just felt stalled. It almost felt like a filler episode. But anyway.
Yeah, I think one of the things that me and Jarella even said, I don't know if we said it during discussion or if we just talked about it personally, that if episode 2 would have been like, all right, you got episode 1 and 2, it's like a 2-hour episode. I think it would have served so much better, because then you have a little bit more you can do with the narrative. But it felt like episode 2 to me 2 was like an extension of 1. And I gave this episode 3 like an 8.5 because it did feel a lot different, you know, and I actually enjoyed that. And I was sitting there thinking to myself, I was like, we haven't seen Negan yet. And like, what is he going to do with Gabriel? What's going to happen? Like, does he have a master plan that we can't see? But I gave this episode, I think, an 8.5 out of 10. I did enjoy it. But Michael, what was your closing thoughts on it?
Yeah, episode 3, I think they did a good job, you know, setting up some of the more emotional elements, moving things forward. I do agree they kind of got the plot going a little bit. I give this episode like a 7.5 out of 10. I did like it, and I'm looking forward to what they're going to do next episode. Plus, what I think, do you guys know what they're going to do next episode? Because I have no idea. I don't really look at the previews.
I don't know. I actually, as soon as the preview started, I literally went to record my review, so I have no idea. I thought the cliffhanger was so strong on this episode. It was choreographed so specifically, where Ezekiel was so confident, right? And then like you can literally see like lines of blood spray from his people. Like there was like a group of people who straight tackle Ezekiel to the ground.
Yeah, shout out, they made it real visible.
Yeah, shout out to those dead niggas. But I was like, yo, that was a real cliffhanger on some real shit. Again, could you imagine if you saw that cliffhanger without any previews? It just cut to Talking Dead. Like, damn, I just thought Nick Terrell killed it.
Yeah, those people legitimately jumped on him to protect their king. Like that was loyalty, man. Like
that was some straight up like medieval shit.
Yeah, it was. And I didn't see the preview either, ironically. Like I was looking at my DVR because I DVR'd it, and then my DVR just stopped like right as the preview was starting. So I don't even know what's gonna happen next either. But
yeah, I think the only other thing I would say is that I mentioned this in my review as well, but I feel like the first time that they introduced the kind of the homosexuality between Aaron and Eric, it felt super awkward. Whereas like you could tell like they did in a way like, damn, I don't know how people are gonna take this shit.
Yeah.
But whereas like in episode 3, it just felt well handled. And I like that they treated Aaron and Eric as just people that just so happened to be in love with each other. You know what I'm saying? I thought that was cool. They didn't make it awkward or
I agree
or
with
cringy. That. You know what I'm saying? So that was cool.
I actually thought that was one of the first times, and I think I've seen like at least one other time in the show, where it really felt like the comics with their relationship. I don't know how you feel about that, Sam. But it's just like the genuine connection from both of the actors and, you know, the dialogue. And I really felt that with that moment at the tree.
Yeah, I definitely feel like that whole tree moment and how naturally it was conveyed. Even the fact that Eric was encouraging Aaron to get up, you know what I'm saying? Like you always assume that Aaron is a strong one and not Eric.
Yeah.
But that to me, it kind of felt like it was taken right out of the comic. Like just that scene and how they platformed it, it was the embodiment of both of the characters that a lot of people didn't know or see. I wish they would have explored it a lot better, but I guess there's so many different characters, so many different arcs that they're trying to do. I guess that's where, you know, shows like Game of Thrones just exceeding that so much better, unfortunately. But they did a really good job in this specific sequence. I thought they did a really good job. But I guess we're done. We've broken this thing down from top to bottom. It's literally 12:30, 11:30 where Jarrell's at. So we gotta peace out, you guys.
Later, yo.
Check out these guys' channels in the description bar below. Leave your comments, leave a like, and we'll talk to you guys later. Peace.
Peace. This Game of Thrones is still better at the end of the day.